When it comes to Sydney harbour beaches, Balmoral is a jewel in the crown. And the reaction to an Aboriginal land rights claim at the local council meeting was as strident as it was predictable.
Go find another piece of dirt that nobody wants.
This is the last thing we need. We need to go forward, one equal people together. All of these divisive and disruptive claims are getting in the way of that.
The fact is, this claim on part of the Laurie Plunkett Reserve, a stone's throw from the beach, was lodged 14 years ago. Nathan Moran is CEO of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council in Sydney.
We have the right to claim vacant Crown land not required by the Crown. That is land not required for essential uses, such as roads, infrastructures, schools, housing.
He's talking about the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Rights Act, which was introduced 40 years ago.
Land that was to be returned under the Crown estate was for recompense for the loss of New South Wales.
Which is different to the Commonwealth's native title legislation, which is also getting a lot of attention right now.
50% of Australia is already under native title, with a further 10% awaiting determination. Minister, at what point will these native title claims end?
From time to time there'll be stories or speculation about Indigenous people coming to take your backyard. Is that actually possible?
That's been false for 30 years, ever since the Native Title Act was enacted.
Patricia Lane is a barrister and former member of the Native Title Tribunal.
Maybe another generation needs to hear clearly and explicitly that native title can't take your backyard.
Some of the native titles are exclusive. In other words,
Possession, occupation, use and enjoyment to the exclusion of all others.
but some grants are non-exclusive, meaning that ownership and access is shared.
Nobody lost any land. The High Court's genius in native title was to balance the rights of the Indigenous peoples with the rights of the new Australians. And we got the balance right.
But not everyone agrees with that. In Brisbane, the Quandamooka people have lodged a native title claim covering 530 square kilometres. The claim includes 3,500 council-owned or managed properties, including a performing arts centre, cemeteries and popular tourist spots.
Given that it was Aboriginal land in the first place, why do they have to prove this?
They prove it because that's what the Native Title Act says they have to do.
Back in Sydney, Nathan Moran admits most of the land claims under the New South Wales laws, about 75% in fact, are doomed to fail.
There was a lot of hysteria when it first came in that we'd claim people's backyards. That's not claimable land. The other identified areas where they're national parks, that's not claimable land.
15 kilometres north of Balmoral, Nathan Moran's Land Council is planning a subdivision of up to 450 homes on land it's already been granted at Lizard Rock, also known as Pachigarang.
45 football fields, they're going to be destroyed and turned into housing lots which are not required. And they want diversity, they want townhouses, they want smaller lots and smaller houses. And so we've planned that with our community. This is completely outside of that.
I understand it was opposed by all of the candidates running in the state election.
Yes. I couldn't explain why they all chose to ignore our rights as Aboriginal people, but I think it's also about the ignorance, not respecting that we're a private owner.
The long-abandoned Waverton Bowling Club is another site that was recently granted to the Land Council.
Today, we see over the weekend people have chosen to throw rocks through windows and smash up the premises. What you're seeing today is land rights in reality. We inherit disrepaired buildings that are not safe nor feasible to be open to the general public, are now put onto our books and have now become our asset and our liability.
Now, although the Aboriginal Land Rights Act was introduced back in 1983, it looks like successive New South Wales governments have been dragging their feet. In fact, the state's Auditor-General says that the Department of Planning and Environment has not been meeting its statutory requirements to determine claims within a reasonable time.
We've got a huge problem where we've exercised our right to make claims on Crown land, but we're not seeing the assessment of those land claims. Not just one or two, we're talking tens of thousands.
So how many claims are active?
So in New South Wales, it's over 39,000 currently are unresolved.
In this battle of Balmoral, Moran's organisation will have to prove that this particular piece of land has been neglected for so long that it can now revert to its original owners. Now, Mossman Council wouldn't talk to us, but they did say that this land is being used for essential public purposes.
I don't accept that local governments don't know about land rights. I find that a furphy. Come on. Frankly, that's just a lie.